My name is Rachel Ford with Derby City News, and we're here with another DCN profile with Attorney General candidate Todd P'Pool. Todd, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And it's an honor for you to take time out of your busy schedule to educate us regarding your candidacy as well as the Attorney General's office, so thank you. But first of all, I would just like you to start off by telling a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your family and background.
Well, my last name is P'Pool, so I have to run a statewide race with a funny last name like that.
Poor guy.
Absolutely. I have three, and I have three daughters that have that last name as well. So maybe they'll get some relief someday and marry a Smith or a Jones. But my family came through the Cumberland Gap in 1790. They were Petty Pools, P-E-T-T-Y Pool. It's a Scotch-Irish name, and they settled in western Kentucky in 1792 and cut the name in half. So made it P'Pool. Here we are 200 years later. But I've won twice with the name. I'm a county attorney. I'm a rural.
It's memorable.
Well, people don't forget it. They often misspell it and put an E on the end.
As long as they know it right on the ballot.
As long as they can see it on the ballot.
Right, exactly.
We've had some success out in western Kentucky. I'm from Hopkins County. It's a county that's 70% Democrat. So I was the first Republican to win since the Civil War, and I'm extremely honored to have the support of Democrats and Republicans, independents, Tea Partiers. I think we appeal to a broad audience, and folks are ready to have an Attorney General that really wants to be the Attorney General, someone who will actually stay in the office and not look for another election or another train out of town.
Okay. I've noticed that you've been doing a lot of campaigning and you didn't even have a primary. You've been campaigning along with the primary candidates. What have you been hearing from Kentuckians regarding what their priorities are regarding your particular office?
Well, I think the one issue that seems to come up most often with regard to the Attorney General's office is the fact that Obamacare is looming out there. 27 attorneys general around the country have joined the litigation to find Obamacare unconstitutional, except Kentucky. Jack Conway has kept us on the sideline, and I think Kentuckians want to be in that. And when I'm elected Attorney General, the very first month I'm in office, Kentucky will report for duty in the fight against Obamacare. It threatens our jobs, it threatens to raise taxes in all forms, and it's perhaps the worst piece of legislation that's been passed in my lifetime, and it's unconstitutional.
Okay. Well, that brings me to that point. We hear a lot that it is unconstitutional, and the legislators are doing things to combat what they feel is a power grab from big government organizations regarding Obamacare. But you, as an Attorney General, you can get more involved on the legal side of the issue. And we hear a lot in the media regarding from Tea Party folks and more conservative folks that it's unconstitutional. Could you please explain why specifically you feel that Obamacare is unconstitutional?
Certainly. Not one, but two federal judges have ruled Obamacare unconstitutional, and I've read both of those opinions. And the latest opinion was written by the Florida federal judge, who is a native of western Kentucky, which explains the common sense approach that Judge Henson used in his opinion. The real issue that causes this legislation to be unconstitutional is what's called the individual mandate. As a prosecutor, when I prosecute folks, I have to prove that they had the intent and that they had an affirmative act. Those are the two things that when the government says you've committed a crime, you have the intent and you had to make an act. You had to do something. Well, under Obamacare, you can be penalized by the government for doing nothing. Now, if the federal government can start to penalize people for inactivity, for choosing not to buy a product in the private market, then it's just about the door's wide open for the federal government to regulate every breath we take. So it's been struck down as unconstitutional on the basis that to force private citizens to purchase a product in the private market, the Commerce Clause is not that elastic. Congress does not have that power to make private citizens buy private insurance.
Okay, well, thank you. That's helpful. Something else, I was having a conversation with someone about this. Now, would you need to seek the approval of the governor if you were Attorney General?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you could just do that. You could
I'm
pursue it legally,
absolutely,
independently as the Attorney General.
I'm a duly elected executive of the Commonwealth,
Okay.
and I would not need the permission of the governor.
Okay, just wondering. Something else I've noticed about you is that you do more than just pay lip service regarding particular issues that mean something to you. You tend to take specific action on those issues, and one of those is combating drug abuse. And in particular, you don't take the traditional approach that a lot of politicians do, just, let's be tough on crime and let's lock them up and throw away the key. And that looks good on TV, and it looks good on paper. But you take an alternative approach. And one indication of that is you've really involved yourself in an organization called Teen Challenge. And just explain that particular organization, because I think it's very impressive, but explain how that has molded your view regarding drug abuse and how you handle those situations on a legal
Well,
level.
thank you for your kind comments. 25 million Americans are suffering from some sort of illicit drug use, drug addiction. They affect another 5 people in their lives. So nearly a third of the population is dealing either directly or indirectly with addiction of some kind. As a prosecutor, I know that 80% of all crimes are drug-related. We have a terrible prescription pill epidemic in Kentucky. I come from a rural part of the state where we've seen meth production. Drugs are a real issue. Addiction is an issue for every Kentucky family and every taxpayer. Those on the other side believe that you can throw more money at a problem and make it go away. I have not seen that to be the case. We started a faith-based organization called Western Kentucky Teen Challenge. It's actually, the name's a little misleading. It started 50 years ago in New York City for teenagers in gangs. It has evolved into treatment for adults, men and women, and adolescents, 200 centers across the nation, with an 86% success rate.
That's impressive.
So President Bush was a proponent of faith-based initiatives. I know that, I understand separation of church and state. I don't believe the government should be in the business of promoting one religion. But I do think government has to acknowledge results.
Sure.
And we've seen results in faith-based treatment. And as Attorney General, I will lead the discussion on the drug epidemic, and I'll be a big proponent of faith-based initiatives.
A third part of your platform that I would like to discuss is another area that means a lot to you, because I know you've said that coal mining goes back, it runs through your blood, your heritage, and all of that. But something that you want to take on is Kentucky Coal's fight against the Environmental Protection Agency. And President Obama has been very open and verbal regarding his support of particular regulations that would, in essence, fine coal plants for emitting gases, greenhouse gases, into the atmosphere, impacting the global warming epidemic, theory. And as Attorney General, what can you do to specifically protect an industry that is absolutely huge? Affects every Kentuckian in the state.
Well, the fight needs to go to the EPA. We need an Attorney General that will push back on overreaching federal government. Barack Obama promised to bankrupt coal-fired power plants. That was his promise on the campaign trail. Vice President Biden said that coal was more dangerous than radical Islam terrorism. Now, for 4 generations, Kentucky Coal put food on my family's table. I take that personally. I think this administration is absolutely hostile to Kentucky Coal. And really, it goes beyond coal, it goes to electricity. People need to realize that electricity doesn't come from a light switch.
Right.
It comes from coal, 90% of our electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And that is our competitive advantage in creating jobs.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to bring manufacturing plants to Jefferson County or throughout Kentucky, they will come because we can offer cheap electricity. That's our competitive advantage in Kentucky. So this administration, what they can't pass through Congress, they go through the back door of a hostile EPA.
Mm-hmm.
They make compliance impossible. Not only 18,000 mining jobs, but all of the vendors that support the coal industry and all of the manufacturers that rely on cheap energy. So it's a fight that we're at. It's worth taking up this cause because I do feel very passionate about it. And I look forward to serving as Attorney General and working hard to protect our jobs.
Okay. Something else, you have an impressive reputation with fighting corruption. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your history with that and your experience regarding that?
Well, thank you. I've been appointed 16 times as a special prosecutor. 2 of those times included prosecuting elected officials, and I've received successful convictions. One of those convictions resulted in jail time for an elected official. I'm not part of the Frankfort clique.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an outsider. I'm from Western Kentucky. I'll be an independent Attorney General, and I will expose corruption, and I will prosecute corruption without fear or favor. If I find and I know that there are things there that need to be investigated, and as this campaign goes along, we'll talk more about that.
Mm-hmm.
But the people of Kentucky need to know that their Attorney General is a prosecutor who will go after corruption
Right.
wherever we find it.
Transparency, things like that, those are definitely popular catchphrases for people to use, and it's good that to have somebody that's going to put that into play. And
But the Attorney General has to be there.
Right.
He cannot be building Aqua Buddha ads. He can't be at cocktail parties with Nancy Pelosi. He can't be in New York City with Keith Olbermann. We have to have an Attorney General that shows up to work every day. We've had an Attorney General that's been absent from Kentucky for the last 2 years. So we need an Attorney General that will be there when Kentucky needs him.
Okay. Well, for the sake of contact information, your website, what
Yes.
is the web address?
ToddP'Pool.com.
Okay.
ToddPPOOL.com.
Okay.
So-
Okay. Well, good deal. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, this is an educational experience, well, not just for our viewers, but for me as well. And I just appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule because I know that you're running here and there and everywhere. And thank you very much. Hopefully our viewers will appreciate it and it will help them to make a decision come November.
Well, thank you for everything you do, and I appreciate you putting this program together and getting information out along the website and the internet. Thank you so much.
Okay, good deal.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.